Hello everyone, it's Kari back again with you on the channel to share a really fun new stencil from Missing Stamps. This one is called Showtime and it is fun. There are 6 different stencils and I'm going to show these to you kind of in backwards order, but this one here has a lot of different sentiments that you can add to your cards or to one of the images in the stencil, and I'll show you as we move forward. And then I'm looking at these and I'm noticing that they are backwards, but it's okay. I will build these up for you and then we will make a few cards so I can show you how they all work together. Now these particular stencils do have an etched line around the edges for you to be able to line them up easily on an A2 sized card panel. These stencils are numbered so that you will have the order in which they go. I don't know if you can see the 3 in the upper right hand corner here on this one. And you can see that there are going to be some options for you to choose for these stencils. So you're not going to use every single element on every single stencil. There are different ones and I'll show you that in just a minute. So this will create a wormy kind of monster looking character, but here's the 3 different elements that you can use per card, and I am going to make 3 cards to show you what each of those look like. So let's go ahead and get started. I do recommend a little bit of repositionable adhesive on this first layered stencil because there are quite a few little stencil parts that you'll want to have held down really well. And I found that on some of the smaller pieces, it's really great to use an ink pouncer, kind of like this one. And so I'm going to use that on this first one. I found that on the larger pieces like these, a stencil brush worked really great, but on the smaller pieces, I really liked using this ink pouncer. So I'm going to use that up here on the top, and I actually tried it on this whole stencil, but I did find that it was quicker to do the larger pieces with a blending brush. So that's going to be my preferred method. And now I'm going to go ahead and carefully remove this, and you can see that monster coming to life there. I'll add the second one, lining up those etched lines along the ends or along the edge of each of the panels. So they are pretty easy to line up. And now I'm going to take a lighter color. This time I decided to try antique linen to give a little shading to this layer. So what I found was that if you wanted to add some shading so this monster really does pop, then another color is really great. But you'll see in my next card I found a color I liked even better than this antique linen. So I'll share that with you. And now I'm going to use some Post-it tape to mask off this part of the stencil. I found that you really don't need to do this. So if you don't want to take the extra time, you really don't have to. And I figured that out when I put on the 3rd layer of stencils. So you'll see. So you can just ignore this part, but I did want this to be green. I'm coming in with some evergreen bough. And this is going to mimic what I have seen in pictures of what this creature might look like. Once I get that finished, I will move on to the next layer. So I'm going to pull all of these off and replace that layer. Like I said, you really don't need to do this because they thought of everything at Missing Stamps when they were creating this stencil. I'm going to use that same antique linen on the teeth. You won't be able to see this very well in the video, but you'll see it better in a close-up at the end. And now I'm going to add this layer here, which is going to kind of create those, I guess you could say the mouth or the lips portion. I'm going to use red for this layer. Look at that. And that layer also has an optional piece to it. And then this layer right here will add the eye, which I did not do because I didn't realize it was there. But you can make that red. See, I'm trying to add a little bit of red over there. And then I'm going to add the gravestone. I'm using iced spruce for this, which I know that sounds funny, but that is one of my favorite distressing colors. I really, really do like it. And now you can take some of those sentiments and add them to this gravestone, or you can use it on any part of the card for your sentiment. I'm using the little ink dauber again because I found it worked really great for the sentiments. So for this one, I am going to be using the one that says Never Trust the Living. So here's our first panel done, and it was pretty quick and pretty fast. The second one's going to be even faster because I did find some shortcuts. So let's do this one more time. I'm going to ink blend again some black on this first layer. I really do love the black stripes. And I like the black for the frame. Of course, you could switch it up, whatever you wanted to do. But look here, I'm going to go in with the pouncer once again because I found that made it a little darker on these smaller parts. And I'll carefully take that off. I'll add the second layer, and this time I'm going to ink it with iced spruce. So I'm doing a very light coat of the iced spruce just to start it off. And then I'm going to come in with a detail brush, and I'm going to add some shading and shadows to parts of this worm snake monster thing and make this really jump out. So when I reveal this, you'll see it does make quite a bit of a difference when you use just a little extra of this ink blending with a detail brush. I'm finishing up just these last little bits here, and I'm also going to add it to this part right here. And now I'll remove that stencil, and you can see what a difference that makes. I do like this one a lot better than the antique linen. Doesn't that just make it look like it pops? So cool. So now I'm going to add this next layer. I think this is the third layer here. This one has the ghosts on it. I do use this on a card, but right now I'm just going to ink up the mouth portion. And this is where I'm coming in with that evergreen bough again. So you can see this layer is the one. You don't need to tape anything off, which is wonderful and great and awesome. So now I'll come in with this fourth layer here, add the red part of the mouth, just lining that up carefully and adding that right there, just like that. And we've got something that looks kind of creepy, kind of scary. Now look at this. I'm going to be using this stencil for this particular card, and this is the one that has the trees in the background. I started out with antique linen, then I came in with some vintage photo just to add some darker shading to that. And I decided, you know what this needs? This needs some mica spray. So I'm taking some paper and just folding that up over my grip mat so I don't accidentally get some of the spray on my mat there. And I'm going to shake this up really well and spritz a little bit on just like this. And I think this is the Empty Tomb. I'll link the colors below. I'll link everything below if I can. And so there we have it. But I did take a paper towel and just kind of blot up some of that excess ink. And I'll tell you, I did not use Pixie spray on this one, and some of the ink did seep underneath this stencil, but I think it really looks cool and it adds a little to the creepy look. I kind of like how it turned out. See that? It's neat. It's fun. It's a fun look. So there's our first two. Now I'm going to ink up this last one off camera, and that's the one I did the ghosts on. Here's the one I did the tombstone and then the branch there. And now let's turn them all into cards. Now I had some black and white striped ribbon and I had to use it. And I cut the smallest tag out of this tag die set from Missing Stamps. And that's what I stenciled on the Hello Senora stencil. I used the green to stencil that on, the evergreen bough. And now I'll just go around the edges with some lime green. I used some black and white washi tape on the edge of that tag. And this is how I'm going to put all of them together. I found some striped glitter paper here and some lime green paper. Then I've got this black frame that I die cut out of the modern Typeset frame die. That will become the perfect black mat around this. I did cut down this panel a little bit. And now I'm going to cut out the center part of the green glitter paper because I really don't like to waste it. I don't like to waste my black either. That's why I use that frame die. And now we'll just layer these up. So just adding a little liquid adhesive to that black, and we're going to add that to the green glitter. And this is going to create a double matte look, which I think is a really nice look on cards. And then we're going to go ahead and add this panel, just adding the liquid adhesive around the edges to get onto those frames. And then we can add that entire thing to a top folding card base. I do add a little something to that skull on the top a little bit later, so I'll show you that. For the second card with the gravestone and the lime green paper, I'm adding some black rhinestones or gemstones. And I'm just using a little gem picker and adding those, and then we'll add this to the lime green. I really do like lime green in my Halloween makes this year. It's been kind of a favorite color for me this year for some reason. And then we'll add that to the striped glitter paper, which I think really complements that striped character on the front. And that will be the second card. We'll add that to a card base as well. I'm just using my adhesive eraser to get rid of some of that stickiness from the Pixie spray. Now I'm going to take the high swirl frame die and cut out some of those little flowers. This third and final card is going to be a little bit extra because I thought this just deserved a little bit more. So I'm taking those flowers, putting them on my foam mat, and then I'm going to take my flower tool here. This has a ball on the end of it, kind of like a stylus, and then you just kind of go around the center and it causes the edges of the flowers to curl up just a little bit. Creates kind of a 3D flower. Now most of you are probably familiar with this. I do this every once in a while when I want to add some homemade flowers. And I've got this wax. This is kind of a gilding wax, and I'm going to add this to the edges of those flowers. I'm just using my fingers, and I know it's hard to see in the video because they're so small. I tried to get a little bit closer up, and you'll see it a little better in just a minute when I put it back on the black mat, on the foam mat here. But this adds a little bit of old world vintage look. I love it. I love this wax. This is brand new wax to me, as you can tell. I just barely opened it. So this is really, really fun. As I put this one down, see there, you can see the gold now a little bit on the edges. And I just need the tiniest bit. And that's all that you need. And then I'm going to build these up on the card, kind of put 2 or 3 of them together, and I will add some gold gemstones to the center of that as well. So this is going to have some ribbons, some flowers, some gemstones, all the things. I think this one turned out so fun, and it's fun to just create something a little different. So I cut out the ribbon, and I'm going to run that through my Xyron adhesive little X tool here. Rub that on, peel off the top, and that's going to create a sticky back for my ribbon. And then I can just add this to my panel. Now I wish I would have put it down just a little bit more. And I realized that after I put it on and fold over the edges, you'll see that I want to try to peel that up and move it down just a little bit, but it's too late because once you run that ribbon through and it's got the adhesive on it, there is no peeling that off. So make sure you put it in the right place, but I made it work. We're going to add a little black cardstock around the edge of this one as well and put the flowers right up here, the little tag around that skeleton up top. And I just think it turned out kind of fun and different. And it's fun to use your stencils in a different way and just add different embellishments. This tag I'm going to put on with some foam adhesive, some foam tape. That'll pop that piece up, give it some more dimension to this card. And I'll place that just like that so you can still see the skeleton. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue the black cardstock down to my card base. I could have cut out the center of this black as well, but of course I didn't think about that until it was too late. And then I'll glue on the top panel, so we'll have a little bit of black showing on this card. So there we go. That's our third and final card. So this was a really fun stencil to work with. I'm sure you can think of a lot more embellishments and different things that you can do to really make this jump out at you. Such a fun stencil to play with. Lots of variety. Once again, I love the variety. So there's a closer look at all of our cards. Let me know. Oh, and this is the one I put some red gemstones on that skull on the eyes. So you'll see it right here. See that? I think it looks pretty fun. Kind of cool too. So let me know in the comments below which card is your favorite. The one with the ribbon, the one with the lime green, this one here, or the one with the green glitter paper. I had a great time creating all of these. I hope you had a fun time too. Don't forget that the new release is available on Saturday, October 5th, which is the day that this video goes live. I'll have all the links for you below, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.